What is up, my YouTube friends? Jesse here with Just Man Sports Cards. Gonna do a video on Shaquille O'Neal rookie cards. Someone that I collect. We'll go over all 34 rookie cards that he has. The title, I know there's investment in it, but if you're putting money into it, it's probably something that you want to research, and I've researched it a little bit, actually quite a bit. We'll do a deep dive. Not sure how long the video will be. Um, really would love to hear your thoughts down in the description. If you think my thoughts are right or wrong or maybe spot on. Anyways, we'll flip it around and get started.
Okay, so here's the data. None of this is investment advice. It's just meant to be informative and help you in choosing the cards that you want to collect and where you want to put your money. I've organized it 34 cards of his. I didn't include the college cards, so he had to be in a professional uniform, NBA uniform, and then I didn't include any multiplayer cards. That brings us to 34 cards, organized it by lowest pop to highest pop. Pulled the data roughly 3 to 4 months ago, pulled it again today. You can see the population growth over the last October, November, December, January, 4 months. Yeah. It basically grew, what is that? 17,000? I don't know, 20. Yeah, about 17,000. So 4 or 5,000 cards a month. I just think that's too many cards per month for the market to support the price. And so on Shaquille cards, we'll look at some data. The price came down with the market, but I think a lot of that is to do with how many cards of his were graded. And then what else did I sort? We'll go over the cards. I put a yellow line here. This is the top 10 lowest populations. I put these in red because these are the highest populations, and I just think these are cards that people really shouldn't collect. There could be a strong argument for the tops, but then there's the tops gold, which is a parallel, which has a much lower population. We'll go ahead and hide this column to clean up the data a little bit, make it a little easier to see. To give it an example, this total pop for all the cards, Zion is at about like 270, 280, which is super high. But then if we pop over here, I've sorted a bunch of the data. Get on the first tab. Using gem rate, you can see Michael Jordan's year between his sticker and his base. I know there would be the argument for 84 being his rookie year, but we're going to use 86. 30, like 41,000. But his PSA 1s are worth quite a bit of money. So I think with Shaquille, high grade stuff is going to be where you're going to need to be at 9s or 10s. I don't know that you would collect an 8 unless it's on some of these super low pops where they're expensive cards. Beam team of members only, it goes for over $200. So some of these in 8s are kind of expensive cards. We'll go ahead and expand some of this. Then the next thing I did is I priced out all the 9s for each card. And then what I did is I divided the population, the price by the population. And that came up with a formula here. And over on the far right would be the total market cap if each card was a 9. So I didn't break it out super sophisticated. So we'll just start with the card at the top. Week in gold, All-Star Week in gold. Let's see, it's this card here. So there's a base version of this, and then there's a gold. They basically came in these packs, which were handed out at the All-Star game. You get all these players. So Shaq comes in every single pack. So some people aren't going to like these just because they're going to say it's not really pack pulled. It comes in like a team set. And then it was thought that you would get one gold one per case. And then the gold is the whole entire pack. I've done a video on these, and then so most recently a PSA 10. Oh, it's not gonna pull up. Oh, that's a bummer. PSA 10, the Jordan's valued at like 1,700. The PSA 10 just sold for 1,800. Next card on the list is the Golden Book and the Perforated Sheets. They're both perforated cards. So what those look like is they just have the dots. I'm not crazy about that. So that's just why I'm not collecting. These did recently. Some of the ninths just sold for like $50 a piece. I have the price in there. Tony's Pizza. I think they came in these packs. They're handed out at, I think, Tony's Pizzas. And you can pull a Shaq. And then I kind of like the story behind that, but I'm not crazy about it. This is the MVP PSA 7. But these are what the cards look like. They're cool cards. I just wish that this was a little better picture. I like the hologram, but I'm just not crazy. I own one PSA 8 just to have the card. So that's where I'm at with that. The All-Star Weekends, we covered that. I own one PSA 9, and I own a PSA 7 of the gold. And that's where I'm at on that. The Drakes, I'm actually a fan of these. They came in, you can go to Blowout Forums, and they tell the story. They came one card per supermarket box of coffee cakes, yodels, devil dogs, etc. So it's just cool that they came in like sweet pastry boxes. The packs did. I just, for some reason, I like that. It's just kind of like a cool story. It's kind of like the Cracker Jack box story of the baseball cards. So I have several of these PSA 9s. I have 2 or 3. I can't remember the exact number. And then Stadium Club. The trick here with Stadium Club is learning what a members only look like and what a members only doesn't look like. Some people will put members only in the title when it is not a members only. It needs a stamp right here, and that card clearly does not have the stamp. There's the stamp. There's the stamp. This does not have the stamp. Here's the current bid going. This one has the stamp. So sometimes they get mislabeled. You just got to watch out for that. These are pretty low pop. Some people, I prefer the 247 over the 201 just because of the picture. I think the 247 is a better picture. That's something I'm paying more and more attention to, is the actual photograph on the card. There is a that has to bring a certain value to it, in my opinion. So we just went over that. This is probably one of the cards I'm the biggest believer in. This card ladder, the 9s are going about 90. These came in Topps Archives gold boxes only. It had to be the gold. The gold boxes are really hard to find. The population is pretty low on these. It's a Topps product. So looking here, it's pretty much the lowest pop Topps card, and that's why I really, really like it. Some people call this a checklist card because there's a checklist on the back. That's the argument for not collecting it, but it's probably the one I believe in the most, and I think it's at a really good price right now. Yeah, I have 2 or 3 of those, and I have, I think, like an 8, and I have a PSA 7 too. The All Divisions, this is what this card looks like. Some people aren't really crazy about the picture. I was bidding on this one. I was just bidding on other stuff, so I think any of these super low pop stuff, if you can get a PSA 10 for under $100, I think it's not a bad deal, in my opinion. That's just where I stand at right now. If I wasn't bidding on some other cards, I would have bid it higher. I think I was at like 77, 78 is where I dipped out on this one. And then what else do I have? I've had some discussions on this card. It's actually this. We're going to skip over some. It's This Upper Deck McDonald's, there's two versions. There's the P43, so this is this variation of it. These packs were handed out in all the McDonald's all over the nation. The O was handed in the Florida market. So these are much, much lower population. I'm a believer in these. I have a couple nines. I have 3 or 4 nines, and I have 2 10s. The nines are, I paid more for my nines than 16. Some people think the O is overprinted, but if you just look at the data compared to the P43, the P43 is super high pop. The O had the natural restriction of being limited to that market, and its population under 1,000. And what's the last one? The Beam Team here. There's 2 versions of it as well. You just have to be careful how people label it. Members only version. It's a little harder to tell on the Beam Team because it's like a embossed stamp. You can see it right there above his armpit. And then if we go back, and then on the non-members only, it's so the members only came in like sealed sets, and they're much rarer. So then what we do, we can play around with different stuff here. And then if you sort this, yeah, this is kind of like a ratio percent of value to population. And it kind of sorts it in a different way. All the red stuff is still at the bottom here. And I think that's correct. And that kind of tells me that these are the cards you might want to stay away from. I do own one of these Upper Deck. It's a cool looking card. It's a little pricey. I think people just really like how it looks, and that's why it's valued at where it's valued at. The Ultra, I definitely wouldn't touch. The base Stadium Club, I wouldn't touch. Space Hoops, I wouldn't touch. Space Upper Deck. Yeah, these cards I basically wouldn't touch, and that's my personal opinion. The Fleer, I really like the photo on it, and for $20 for a PSA 9, I'm cool with owning it. And these boxes are kind of hard to find, so I don't think this population is going to grow much more. Just guessing, speculating. All rookies. I have some of these. I have a PSA 10 of it. I don't know how much. It's fairly low pop. What else? Skybox draft picks. I don't have that. Upper Deck All Star rejectors. I have a couple of the nines. It's a really cool kind of artsy card. I don't have any of those pulled up. And then the McDonald's went over the gold. It's just expensive for a 9. So I'm probably not going to touch this. If it gets in like the 60 range, I just think for this high of a population, it's going to need to come down a little bit for me to jump on board. And then this is kind of what the data is telling you if you look at it a different way. Anyways, I think you can draw a line somewhere at like the top 20 of the cards that you want to collect. Some of these I told you I threw out. I'm not huge on these two because of the way they are. The holograms, I'm not crazy about it. And then we can just go back to the population list. So tell me, what card of the Shacks do you think are key? There's some definitely low population stuff that I think always will be super low population. Does it have room to grow? I think so. I think some of these definitely have room to grow. My guess is the Topps Gold, the members only of both cards, as well as the Beam Team, even though the Beam Team is a little pricey for a PSA 9. I have some 8s. I don't have a 9. There's a bigger discrepancy in the 8s on the members only and non-members only. On the 9, the members only gets a much higher premium. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I want to get this out there. I think this can kind of be daunting for people looking at to collect Shaquille rookie cards. I think if you sit down, and this is what I enjoy doing, is you just look at the data, and I think there's just some clear outliers of what we gone over. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like 90s content, definitely give me a subscribe. And hope everyone is having a great week. Later.